Really pleasing because we're up against a very good team as well in Glasgow, and they're constantly probing, looking for opportunities. And yeah, no, I thought the intensity that we brought to the game was good, which and it's very, very pleasing. The focus generally was pretty good. A couple of times I thought in the second half we looked a little bit vulnerable. Glasgow exposed us a couple of times, but overall, no, yeah, no, you couldn't as in we're pleased with the way the players applied themselves. So yeah, no, it's been a nice little block of games for us. Three games, 3 wins, and on we go to the next challenge now. Yes, we were talking here yesterday just in terms of his athleticism and what he can deliver, and yeah, he came up with a couple of big moments today. So aerially he was good. Obviously he's calling the line out as well. So so we're just we know the athletic bits, but it's can we get the nuts and bolts sort of his game. So no, positive step in his development. They didn't quite fire, as in they didn't quite execute maybe on a few things that they were trying. A couple of kicks out on the full, a few passes don't quite go to hand for them. So but it's probably a combination of them just doing that little bit off, but a bit of good pressure from some of our guys as well. So overall, as I said, when they got that third try, you're like, oh, trying to make sure that they didn't get a point from the game. So because we had decent separation of the scoreboard, the last thing you want is just to give up a cheap point at the end. So we obviously we have that penalty at the end where we kick the corner, but we don't actually execute at the line out. And so there's little bits in our own game that we need to try and fix up as well. But we get in for a try at the end, which puts a bit extra gloss on the scoreboard because obviously Glasgow run out from their own dead ball line, so we get a little bit fortunate there. But yeah, no, there's plenty of bits of our game that we can still get better at, and that's from our point of view, that's what we need to focus on now, because I think the group have got themselves into a great position. In obviously the two competitions that we're in. So we know we have a home quarter final to look forward to against Saracens in Europe, and where we sit in the league. And there's obviously a fair bit of uncertainty around at the moment, and we just need to make sure that we're certain when we go out on the field and play and do everything we can to get as many points as we possibly can. So to get ourselves in the best position, because then we can easier deal with all those other distractions. So some credit to the players. I think they've been good. The locks, and great to see Jack Dunn coming off the bench as well last week. He only got a couple minutes last week, but again he's worked his way back from a shoulder surgery earlier on the season. And he looked big, physical out there as well. So Scott Fardy's even hanging in there on the score sheet as well. So we had a lot of front rowers scoring tries at the start of the season. Now it's time for the locks. So but yeah, no, the competition is good. The competition is driving the group on all across the board. So the young guys are all keen for opportunities, which is good, what we want. So it's good to see some of them do well. I thought Harry ran the week well. And that's the role of the 10 is not just the day of the game. It's how they run the week and the confidence they give to the team. So the direction that they give to the team. So again, between him and Kieran, they've ran this block well. When you're missing 2 10s. With the national team, you've got 2 less experienced players coming into the mix there, but I think the 2 of them have done well. We had a very tough game last week in the Knoll, and obviously Glasgow team with plenty of threats, so we prepare accordingly for that. So we've no game next week, but then after that we'll travel to South Africa. And then we played the Cheetahs. The last time we played Cheetahs, we were well beaten in that game. And you saw Cheetahs at the start of this season, and they're just a completely different beast over there. The way they play, they're very confrontational in their forwards, like all South African teams. But it's the speed that they have. And playing at altitude is just a different challenge for teams. And you saw at the start of this season where they beat Glasgow, put 50 points pretty much on Glasgow, Munster and Ulster, 3 of the best teams in the league. So it's a very tough challenge over there. And we were like almost the guinea pigs, one of the first teams to go out there to play 2 years ago, if you remember, back that far, where we had some challenges ourselves in terms of logistics of that trip. So, and we know there's challenges going out to South Africa. So, we'll try and prepare the group as best we possibly can. There's lots of uncertainty out there, so we need that adaptability piece that we talked about yesterday again. Will be important for that trip, and we'll have there's lots of moving parts, because obviously whatever happens with the Six Nations and players coming back together, and we need to make sure we knuckle down and work very, very hard in terms of that quarter-final piece, where you've got the two groups really coming together, and we've done it plenty of times in the past. So we've learned from some mistakes in the past, and that's important that we do that. We learn from the mistakes, don't make them again, and we do everything we can, because we know it's going to be a massive occasion, that quarter-final game at the Aviva, which is, which I believe is pretty close to sold out already, if not sold out already. So, and they're the special days that all the players want to be involved in. So, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing, I think, a competitive group that all want to play in these big games coming up.